I think. It's fast. I mean, yeah. I mean, they play. They find a way to play together, even though they kind of compete against each other, which is kind of cool. Because that's what you want to see within a team that works well. So, yeah.
Mo, what have you seen out of Austin and Jon, and how do you feel like either one of those guys complements you?
I mean, it's interesting because when you've been together for like 2 years now or a year and a half, you know each other so well that you like kind of know each other's moves. So you kind of think about how you beat the other guy out by just doing the simple things. And I think that's what it really comes down to be honest with you. Iron sharpens iron, and just with the point guard spot, everybody's competing really hard. And yeah.
Is there anything that you noticed that Jon does particularly well?
Teske, I mean, Teske's a very, very high IQ player. Even though he hasn't really a chance to show that yet, but he's a very, very high IQ player who is really a good shooter. Like, I know that better than anybody because he shoots a lot of shots in my face. But I hope you guys get to see that soon too. He's a really good player, and as well as Austin.
Is that maybe overlooked? Because we obviously haven't seen a ton of them. Is that an overlooked aspect of this game?
Well, overlooked is a word that always connects to expectations a little bit, which I don't really like to talk about because who cares? We're going to see what happens. To talk about it beforehand doesn't really make sense. So we're going to see what happens.
With you taking on more of a leadership role in this team, how's that changed what you do on a day-to-day basis, in practice?
It's just a different mentality. I think you can embrace that role by being more responsible with everything I do. I know that last year I would make mistakes, and I know I would slip through, and nobody really cares about. This year I get hold accountable for it just because I'm in that position. So those are things I'm really embracing and I'm focusing on, and just being a vocal leader out there and helping my teammates. I know they trust me, and the other way around as well. So the whole leader thing is this big deal. I don't really see it that way. We're just a good team and working well together.
Does it come natural to you?
I mean, I've always been somebody who talks a lot. I think people can tell when they watch me play, but if you like to see that, yeah, it's something I like, but it's not the only part. It's not the only thing to be a good leader. You don't only have to talk, so I wouldn't say I'm a born leader.
Is there anyone specifically from last year's team who you maybe learned from, Derek, Zach, taking pointers from them?
Obviously, the way Derek changed his mentality halfway through the season, just found that switch was very impressive. I always think back how Karis led this team my freshman year. That was very impressive just for me. Coming here as a freshman, seeing this my first time of my life, how the dude just led the team by not even talking a lot, just doing his thing and being responsible and being very sharp in what he's doing. Those are the examples I would say.
Beyond the leadership standpoint, coming back from your freshman year, what do you think has really improved in your game? What have you seen from yourself that you think that I've come a long way since then?
Obviously the body's always a thing. It's a good question defensively. I think I got a lot smarter. The game basketball players always talk about how the game looks slower to you, so it becomes slower, and it's easier to play and just play after your instincts. So I think I grew a lot in that matter, and just understanding how the college game's played.
You mentioned getting bigger and changing your body. How important has John Sanderson been in that aspect?
Oh, for sure. Just not only people always talk about the gain weight stuff. I think that's all overrated because at the end of the day, if you trust your body, that's really all it comes down to. So just in the sense that if you put the work in with Sam, then you got to find a way to believe in yourself, to be confident enough to go out there and compete. And that what a lot of freshmen don't have at a young age, especially me. with being 210 or whatever I was. So a huge part of his development.
When do you think you found that confidence? Was it after your freshman year, or was it just kind of a gentle thing and it just kind of came?
Well, I was never not confident. Gotta say that, even though my body wasn't in shape. But I wouldn't say there's a switch, but I would say after my freshman year, there was like kind of a time where I said, okay, this is my time now. I'm ready physically, especially mentally, and kind of embraced that a lot. Yeah.
Do you think it helped that some of the guys that were in front of you in freshman year kind of moved on and you got that more of an opportunity or not?
I mean, moved on. That's a hard question. Like, everyone has his own situation that has nothing to do with me. I love these guys. Really, it was like to see the Ricky League like that. I hope he has a great season in Florida. And same with Mark. Like the moving on thing. I mean, that's just how things happen. I don't think it has anything to do with my personal development or their personal development.
Well, what's communication like with Austin and Jon, and with you? Obviously, you'll be a bigger part now of the front court. But what is communication like between you three? How are they coming along as far as being young guys? Because you mentioned being vocal, but communicating being pretty important.
That's like the most important thing we talk about all the time. That we three are solid and we always talk. I think we've come a long way, and we're a team. Like I just said, same with the point guard position, that somehow, even though they compete for minutes, they're acting as one unit in practice because they got to do it, because they're a team. It's the same with us. Yeah, it's fun to work with them, the two guys together, and we're trying to make us better every day, and we're in very close communication with each other.
I know you don't want to predict or anything, but play along a little bit here. I guess with you three, what could some of the possibilities be? What kind of versatility could you guys have up front?
What we're saying, man. Like, honestly, I'm not going to waste my energy on thinking about what could be, because the past has taught me that never works out well. So I don't even think about that.
With your own experience of finding your potential after freshman year and maybe even a little after sophomore year, what do you have 11 underclassmen teammates. I mean, what are you telling them as far as here's how you can find your potential and have the game slow down a little sooner?
I think that's actually something that comes natural. I mean, you can talk to them a lot, you can help them in what they do, you can support them in practice and all that stuff, but you can't make them feel like the game goes slower. Like, it's something they got to develop themselves. They're their own players out there. They got to play after their own instincts, and the veterans can't do that for them. But you can support them. There's a lot. I mean, whether that's like asking how school goes, because that's some big part when you go to college. All of a sudden you have homework every day, which is annoying. So all these little things, but they got to do it themselves at some point.
Okay.
After a year of watching Charles, what are you kind of most interested or curious in actually seeing him do in a game?
Well, we talked about it at the scrimmage, because I was like, it was weird. Like, you on the bus now? Like, you actually come with us? Because he hasn't played basketball in a while now. I'm just very excited. I'm not expecting anything, as always. I'm just very excited for him. He loves basketball so much. He has worked so much the last couple months, the last year, and just had to sit and watch. And now he can actually go out there. He's somebody who's very determined in what he's doing. He loves basketball, and he loves his teammates. So I'm very excited for him and for this team to have him.
Does he give you anything that you guys haven't had?
I would say haven't had, but he's definitely, Coach Bill always talks about the wolf mentality. He's definitely one of these guys that is very, very ambitious, and on the court out there, I think, goes after every ball, makes hustle plays, all these things, little things that not everybody wants to do. So I think that's going to be a great energy guy. That's going to be very helpful.
Well, where's Austin grown the most?
I think he made a huge jump in his body development. I think he came in here as like 250 something, and now he's like 230 something like that. I don't know. He looks a lot slimmer and a lot more in shape. And just confidence-wise, I mean, last year there was a stretch during Big Ten on the scout team where he looked like a different person. He like caught everything under the basket. A-Dog was throwing anything up there, piece of crap, and he was just dunking it, and made A-Dog look like a superstar. And yeah, I mean, it's just mental, man. Once you get out there, I know the first 5 minutes are like nervous, and then the sooner you get used to it, the better. So it's a little bit on him. I think we support him the most we can, as always. But like I said, the switch, everybody got to do that for himself. And but I'm very confident in him that he's going to do that. As well as Jon.
What you meant mental thing? Was there one thing? I mean, because you had to overcome something, right? Like that. I mean, mental hurdle. Every player's got to do it. Was there one moment when you're like, okay, now I'm starting to get it. Now I'm comfortable.
I'm still not having that moment. No, I'm just fine. I think, yeah, my freshman year, Big Ten tournament in Indiana. Obviously, in the beginning of the season as well, North Carolina State. That was awesome because I felt like, I mean, this is basketball. This is not math. I can just play basketball. And then halfway through the freshman year, I kind of hit a wall a little bit because I thought it was too easy. So Big Ten tourney kind of came back in the groove, and I think that's when the switch when I kind of switched and realized, man, if I'm confident, I can actually do something here. So I would say that.
Hey Mo, apologies if you already asked this, but you feel you're doing a better job of moving on after a bad play in practice this year?
I hope. I mean, obviously that's something I'm embracing, especially being a little more in a leading position. Definitely something I'm focused on.
And then Coach Haynes participating in practice, what's that been like?
Yesterday it was a little shook. It was just the first day. He turned it over a little bit. Didn't really make a shot, but it wasn't a good day for him. But I think he's going to be good. I mean, I remember Coach Val my freshman year. He was killing. He looked like a pro out there, in his mid-30s. Was very impressive, and so the expectations are really high for Coach Dre. But so far he hasn't shown anything yet. But I think he's going to be well.
Did you guys look up his career? You know what he did at Kent State?
Yeah, I don't know what he did at Kent State, but he's not getting tired of telling me what he did in Germany. I heard a lot about that. Yeah.
Are you looking to showcase or use some of new skills in the game tomorrow against like another team, different competition?
Well, yeah, obviously playing against somebody else is a huge, I don't know, motivation. Like it's just different than playing against yourself. You can experiment a little bit. Going in front of the fans is always special, and just going out there because as a basketball player, what you really want to do is play and compete. So I'm very excited.
How do you lead? Do you lead by example? Do you lead vocally?
That's a good question. You gotta ask the guys. No, I hope both. I'm a very vocal guy. I've been that my entire career. I think even as a freshman, when I wasn't a leader in that sense, but I talk a lot. But I just try to do my job with the most integrity I can do it, and I think that's the most important thing. As long as you do your job and do it with the most determination and just willingness to do it, whatever it takes, that's when people follow you, and I hope I can do that this year.
You and DJ had no problem holding each other accountable. Do you think this team will have an issue holding?
No, not at all. I think last year we had that kind of problem in the beginning of the season where people would just shy away from that responsibility, and we were all guilty of that. And this year, I think it has to do with we're just so young and everybody's so hungry. Everybody got to earn his role a little bit. That doesn't happen, and yeah, it's a good feeling because you really can just say things openly in the locker room, and everybody's tuned in, and nobody is going to make fun of you or says this is ridiculous what he's saying. I don't want to do this. Everybody's locked in and very committed to one goal.
Second half of last year, you and Derek were obviously so locked in on the 1-5 stuff. But when you have, there are multiple point guards right now playing multiple times. It's not one guy playing whatever he averaged, like 36 minutes.
Yeah.
Is it an adjustment when realizing which guy's back there, which one has the ball when you guys get into the two-man game?
I can answer that question probably a little more into the season because so far it's still very raw, and when you play against each other, it's a little different than when you're actually out there. So most of these things develop throughout the season. So I can't really tell right now, but it's definitely different to play with different guys. However, I mean, it's not like I play with D1 in the pick and roll like 24/7. I was in the pick and roll with Zach just as much, and with other guys. So as a basketball, I hope I'm able to adjust to that right when the play happens. So I'm not too worried about that.
I mean, this is probably hard on that. Is that something that, you know, to kind of figure out a guy's tendencies, I would imagine?
Yeah.
Is that something that takes, you know, a month, 2 months, a full season? Like how?
That's a good question, because I figured out Derrick's tendencies kind of halfway through the season a little bit, and that Big Ten it kind of started clicking. With these guys, I have the advantage with X's. I know him a little better than I played with him last year. Got reps with him last year. My freshman year was a little different with D-Walt because we played in a different way. Jaron is a very experienced guy, so it's not really hard to like kind of see his tendencies, because it's a fifth-year plan. Right? The dude is basically a professional. Just he's not getting paid. The dude plays college basketball forever. So Eli's really adjustable. Like he just does whatever you tell him. He just picks it up right away and he does it. So I'm not worried about that at all.
Duncan talked about a little bit of a chip on your shoulder because of the notoriety some of the other programs are getting. Do you guys feel like you're an under-the-radar team?
Always, man. On my whole 3 years, I felt that way, and I like that position because I love being the hunter. I don't really care about all these rankings and all this. I'm sorry I say that, but it's very American. I didn't grow up that way. I think it's I don't really see a lot of sense in that, so I don't pay attention to it. I just play basketball and focus on my team, and I have to prove something every day anyway, so it doesn't really make a difference whether I'm ranked 1st or 25th or 47th. I don't really care.
Thanks, Mo.